Good day, folks. Welcome to 406 Regen. Out here, just kind of putting the finishing touches up on these three sides because it was too wet to be pounding in the post up on top of the hill yet. Later today, I might get to that. Right now is we're gonna be putting in the ground rods for the fence system. Borrowed some barrier cable from the neighbors. This here's about 60 feet in this roll right here. And unfortunately, that's where most people go wrong on their electric fence systems, is they don't put in enough ground rod. You need, for every single joule your charger has, you need 3 feet of rod going into the ground. That's the general rule. Your drier areas, you might need more or you might need less. But generally, to make sure you have a good fence, you do 3 feet for every joule. So, at the moment, I have a 12 joule charger going on this fence. So that means I need 36 feet of ground rod. I have it. It's buried. Let me get dug out. Alrighty, so I bought them as a kit. This is still sealed up in the package. What you get is you get the extra wire, the 3 rods, and your 3 ends, which I have misplaced at the moment for this kit. But I need to open this one up. And these ground rods need to be 10 feet minimum apart. So every 10 feet, they're going to get drove into the ground to where only, probably about that much is sticking out. The rest of it's going to be in the earth, in the ground. And then that'll be pretty decent ground system for the moment. I have another 10-footer I'm going to put up somewhere else in this fence line. I haven't decided where yet, which will put me more ground rod in the ground than I need at the moment. But when I upgrade chargers, I want to make sure I have enough ground rods in the fence system, which I will, because this is just one block and we'll build off of this from here on. So I see I got an audience here today. She was out here yesterday too, being safe from the hunters. But I'm going to go ahead and get these lined up, get this wire stretched out for that 60 feet, and start pounding post. Alrighty, folks. I don't know if the camera's really picking them up or not here, but I went ahead and I measured them. They're all 10 feet apart. These are all ground rods that got to be driven in. I'm trying to decide, quite honestly, if I want to move that end one and put over here in the corner, but thinking I don't want one right next to my metal corners, because if I put one there, it's going to end up being right next to this guy, and I don't think I want to necessarily do that. And I don't believe there's a minimum, like a maximum length the distance can be between the ground rod and the charger, because the charger is going to be somewhere in this area, and hooked directly to it. So I think it can go that distance to the first ground rod and be just fine. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pound everything in the way it is right there. For now, I might have to move it. Hope not, but I might have to move everything. I want to put these ground rods in this lower area instead of, say, up on top of the hill, because of drainage. It's going to stay more moist down here. But looking at it here, neighbors' cows will be on this side, so I can't have a box on this side of the fence. This side of the fence puts me right in the gateway, which is 23 feet, which I mean I should be able to get all my equipment in that I need to there. especially since it's all a mobile unit right now and not a hard. I'm not putting in a hard charger where it ain't movable. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do this right here for now, and if I have to change stuff later, I will. I'll just have to hook the tractor and chain to those and pull them up. Won't be that big of a deal, but yeah, because I mean I'm envisioning I'm gonna be using the top gate the most during when it's winter. Like if it's like right now, I can run down here at this gate, no problem. But when it turns winter, I don't want to have to deal with all the snow if I can help it on the road. And you go over across top, and then you're in the pasture. So we'll see. Right now, charger in the box. It'll all be here on a trailer and stuff, movable. So if I want to move my equipment, just unplug it, move the box out of the way, pull the equipment in. No big deal. As far as haying equipment, you know, all that pickup and stuff like that, it'll come through just fine. Don't have to worry about nothing. So I'm gonna go ahead and drive those in. I'm gonna put it all like it is. Get all these driven in to about that far out of the ground. And then what you do is when you get to that point, you have these wonderful little bolts and wedges. And these go on here, like say, and then you kind of, not a whole heck of a lot of room in there, but enough that I'm going to wedge this wire. I'll cut it, and then this is act as a splice and get them in. But first things first, got to drive them in. Alrighty, folks. Well, that took a while, but got all the ends in connected. So this wire comes up, this one comes up, and then you crimp everything together. So don't have the box here yet, so that end's not hooked up, but went along, got them all taken care of. They're all hooked together. Got 60 feet of ground rod distance. There's 36 feet of ground rod in the ground now. So it's one more thing done on the fence that I need to get done. Now I have to go to the other end, the other gateway and stuff over there, and do what I did here. Just hook all the wires together. Have to do it on the gate too. That way the gate's all hot. And then I don't know if this is going to work really all that well or not, but I left this one. This is a ground. This one's hot. Left them a little long so I can open and close the gate. And hopefully there's not much flexing happening on that. So that's what we're doing. So I bought 50 foot of this stuff. And I'm probably going to have to buy another roll. But so what I need to do here is do the wires on the gate, and then the two jumpers, one to the ground and one to the hot. So let's see, hot, ground. So one up here to this one right here, number 4 is the ground. So it'll run across and hook, and then the hot, yeah, ground. Because I don't want to put both of them to the same one so close. So it'll be here on top of this one, and then it'll be hooked to this one, and then the gate will just be hooked like they are. And then as far as this next fence line, I won't hook this stuff on this end. It'll be at that other end, and then we can jump in the corner, because there's not gonna be a gate up there. So I'll just jump them from one side to the other in the corner, and then I'll get it done. But let's get this. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. So alrighty, folks, Went ahead and got it all spliced up. Should be a decent gateway. This one here is not gonna get used hardly at all. I had to put this in for, there's a military line that comes across, so they needed access, so I had to put this gate here. But other than that, I wouldn't so, but it's a decent looking gate. We'll get up to this other corner. I gotta go get some stuff. My brother's up there on the hill with the tractor. He's making an approach for that gateway up there, so we can throw in a gate up there. But yeah, fence is coming. That up there, that fence line over there is all tore down. Posts are out of the ground. It's all picked up. All we got to do now is put in one of our metal 10-footer in the middle over there on the other side of that hill, so we can run our string line, get the fence fairly straight, like this one here is really awesome, and then pound post and do the whole stretch again up there. So I do have to come back in, and I've been using barbless wire to tie these on, so I need to find something a little bit better than that. It's hard to get the wire tight enough that it grips to where these don't slide without, and the wire not breaking. So I got to figure that out a little bit. This is the only downside to putting the metal corners in, is you have to make sure that none of these wires end up touching your post. So like back here, obviously this side, this don't matter, this is all dead. It'll never be charged up. Everything on this side is going to be hot, and this one here, as you can tell because of this brace, I wouldn't have been able to put this in here. So what I did is I ran it longer and made it that way, so then this is out in the open and it can't never touch that post. It screws up the line kinda, but gotta do what you gotta do, right? So anyway, coyote down there. Alright folks, this is just a very, very rough in of an approach, so we can get in to this field from this upper side. We don't there was never a gate here, so that's what we're doing. Of course the sun's in my way, but we brought the dirt from that direction down here and just built this little approach here. Like I said, it's very rough. It's nothing you're going to want to be on when it's really wet, but doing what we can do here to get this finished off, because we're going to have a 24-foot gate somewhere in there. So we wanted to make sure that it was wide enough on this hillside to be able to pull a pickup and trailer in there. Found a piece of wire in the ground. Pickups and trailers just keep getting bigger and bigger, so wanted to make sure that when we're pulling this hill, pulling that hill there, that there's plenty of room to spin in. It's looking quite nice, even though it is a rough end. So that'll probably be it for the fencing here today. We have to build this corner and then run that line, but we wanted to make sure we had this in before we did that. Otherwise we didn't want to hit it, post or nothing with the tractor. It's just easier to do it this way. But yeah, Timeless is out there looking pretty nice.